Alright, gang, that was the Law from New York's own Driven Mad right there, and joining me now on the phone from Driven Mad for the first time here inside the Asylum, Sam Walters, frontman of Driven Mad. How are you, dude?
Good, Turbo. It's great to be on. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Glad to have you, man. Glad we were able to work this out and finally get you on after I saw you guys earlier this year at the Trash Bar, where you guys really blew me away.
Oh, thank you very much.
You're very welcome, man. Now, I want to start off really with the basics, because everyone here in the New York area is familiar with you guys and knows about Driven Mad. But for those who are first hearing about you guys, give everyone a background on how you guys got started.
Well, myself and the guitar player, Dmitry Kalmar, we've known each other since we were about 12 years old and been playing in bands since we were 14. The direct predecessor to this band was a band called King Hell, which was a little more theatrical. It was kind of Parliament meets Metallica. It was very kind of groove-driven metal. When that band broke up, myself, Dimitri, and the drummer from King Hell, Brian Dundon, continued to form this new project, which was a lot more pure metal. It was to some extent a reaction, not against King Hell, but we had done that for a very long time, and it was stripped down, generally more up-tempo, and a lot more aggressive. The other band also had my co-singer, Doc Thompson, and he moved on, so it was just me. So it's a newish band, and it's really much more of a metal band, but the focus, regardless of, exactly how aggressive or not aggressive, like whatever the tunes you're writing is, it's always still very, very focused on riffs and hooks, and even at our most aggressive melody, we're really trying to draw you in and make sure the tunes, even at their most brutal, are still hummable. So to speak.
Yeah,
screamable.
Screamable. Yeah, screamable, yellable, whatever it is you want to call it.
Yeah.
And
that last song that you played, The Law, it's sort of an interesting document. That's from our last EP. We recorded it last year, and it's sort of a bridge song between King Hell and Driven Mad. What you'll hear on the new EP is an even more like aggressive and kind of up-tempo direction. So it'll be interested. It'll be interesting maybe to hear that transition.
Yeah. Well, the one thing I noticed listening to both the first EP, which is entitled Disorder and is available on iTunes, and the new EP Committed, which we'll get to in a little bit, is that there's a lot of, I hear a bunch of different influences in it. I mean, there are tracks that are fast and thrashy, there are tracks that are more melodic and progressive, there are tracks that sound similar to Anthrax. It seems like you guys have influences that come from everywhere in the music world.
Well, thank you. Yeah, we sort of grew up listening to Metallica and stuff like that, so, our one of our building blocks would certainly be that kind of, 80s thrash, and that, very riffy and kind of aggressive. We also, grew up listening to Sabbath, so on the new EP you'll have a tune like I Am the Mountain, which is fucking pretty groove oriented. Something we also wrote in a jam. That's one thing that's different about this band than King Hell is King Hell was like strictly written at home and then the parts were assembled. For Driven Mad, sometimes we get drunk on cheap wine and we'll just jam out for as long as we can keep going, and we generate a lot of riffs that way. And it's a very different kind of aesthetic. I'm sorry, I've got a screaming child in the background.
No worries.
But it's a very different kind of aesthetic. Those songs, the riffs for stuff like that are a lot rarer than than some of the songs that may have some more technical riffs. But at the end of the day, even those we sort of boil down to their best components of those jams, and then add riffs also that have been written kind of at home to turn them into Driven Mad songs. This kind of fusion of kind of stripped down, raw and aggressive, and then some more technical elements.
Yeah, well, that was another aspect of it, that I noticed too is, you guys aren't afraid to go on that riff angle. A lot of the newer bands in the scene, they kind of want to hide the guitars. They didn't really give the guitar a chance to be highlighted. But you guys seem to take that old school approach and make sure that everybody's highlighted. And is that just something you guys think about when you go into it to put something together, or is it just a product of the way you guys just end up jamming together?
That's interesting. Well, one thing is so like my guitar player now has a 7-string guitar, and I think, and I'm not knocking any bands or whatever, but a lot of bands that have those guitars with extra strings, they just detune the whole thing and just strum. And I think that was cool when it came out. It was kind of revolutionary. It was really heavy, but it doesn't really utilize the full range of the instrument. Kind of, you've got 7 strings, and you should use them all, more than just kind of beating the hell out of them. At least that's our ethic. So I think my guitar player, Dimitri, we do. I mean, we just sometimes we drop down to that low A string and just chug the hell out of it. But I think he also looks at the guitars as something of a. He'll probably kill me if I say he looks at it as a piano, but I think he looks at it as all those notes are available to him, and he can use that also to change keys and stuff to create kind of different dramatic moods. So the guitar itself, it's a highlighted instrument. It's not going to blend into the background because it's doing a lot. Similarly with the vocals, I try to I always try to have a melody, or even if I'm doing something kind of brutal. There's a song on the new EP called "Gripping the Third Rail," and the melody, such as it is, even in the verse, is actually just kind of one note, but it's very syncopated against the guitar. So I do try to highlight that. And we also encourage, the bass and certainly the drums, John Fearman on bass and Angel Cote from Eyes Like Cyanide, who's filling in for us, to really add their parts, to add flavor. We want all of the instruments to have flavor and all be highlighted. Nothing necessarily needs to be dominant. I mean, we're a metal band that is, long live the guitar, but we want everybody to shine, definitely, and to really make us as savory a metal stew as we can. We don't necessarily like really simple dishes. Even when we are playing something simple, it's still got to have some nice balance of spices. That was a whole run of terrible metal food metaphor, but I think you know what I'm getting at.
No, I get what you're saying. You guys are not a band that is going to go out there and make it sound like it's just 4 or 5 guys on stage happen to sound good together. You guys make sure that you each have your own individual pieces that sound good on their own, but work together as a whole. Is essentially what you're saying there.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, even like I said, Angel is just filling in with us, but he's contributed some really interesting drum stuff to it, and we certainly would encourage anyone that's playing with us to have their input. It's really a meritocracy, to be honest with you. These guitar riffs are all written by Dimitri, really, and the vocals are written by me. But if somebody came with a great riff, great, we'll play it. I think if you listen to any of the parts in isolation, they would sound probably all pretty interesting, but together it's really quite good in my not so humble opinion.
Well, listen, we all know that if you're a musician and if you don't like it, then how can you expect those in the music world and your fans to like it? Yeah,
it's a cliche, but it's true. We make the music we want to hear. Certainly we give some thought to what people seem to be grooving on live, because that's fun for us. If they're going nuts, then we're excited. But really, it's just we write what we're stoked to write. We write the music we do because we don't necessarily hear it elsewhere. It's not that there isn't satisfying music, but we want to hear Driven Mad music, so we write Driven Mad music.
Oh no, understandable. Now you say that you guys play what people feel live and want to hear live. Is that what you guys kind of do when you sit down to do that jamming, when you're going to be doing some writing? Do you think about what it may sound like live as opposed to, sitting down and going, all right, we're going to write this in the studio and then figure out how it's going to work live? Or, how do you guys handle that aspect?
When Dimitri writes riffs at home, he just writes what he's inspired. I think something will pop into his head and he'll work on it and record it, and he really loves to write riffs. And so I don't think there's any agenda really. Again, a lot of what we're doing now musically, it's not that there's an agenda, but it's sort of a reaction to King Hell, because we did this kind of slow groove metal thing. So now we're kind of naturally sort of shrugging that off and writing a lot of kind of up-tempo aggressive stuff. And in terms of it, there's definitely no agenda when we jam. We buy the cheapest wine we can find, buy the jug, get pretty shitting on it, and just play. It usually starts with a drum riff, We did a lot of it with our former drummer, Brian. He was responsible for, on the new EP, songs like I Am the Mountain and Vertigo were all kind of created and jammed. So we just, get a little lit and just play and just improvise, which is really a lot of fun. Refining it isn't so much fun, because you have a 25-minute tape of, with 3 minutes of really good nuggets. But so I like generating material. I don't really like writing. I like writing songs. I don't like finishing them. But that's where the work comes in,
Yeah, the hard part, when you got to sit and work all the details out, as opposed to just sitting down and letting it fly.
Yeah, no, we let it fly, and then we refine and refine and refine. It takes us a while to write songs, sometimes, but we are very, very detail-oriented. I would say to the degree that it's neurotic, except that the end results, I think, are really pretty good. They're usually as good as they could possibly be. So, we really like to milk absolutely everything we can out of the song, because, until it's really right.
Yeah, for sure, man. Now, you guys put out Disorder earlier this year, and I know you had intended to kind of do a real quick turnaround with Disorder and then come out with Committed, kind of right around behind it. And, now for those that don't know, Dimitri pulled the bicep earlier this year, and how much of an unexpected setback did that put on you guys from being able to get right into Committed like you wanted to?
It actually, to be perfectly honest with you, it actually expedited the production of Committed. We've been having a run of live shows, and they were all really successful. And I'm a live animal very much. My favorite thing to do is perform live. So we'd really, I think maybe in terms of finishing the EP, even gotten a little bit sidetracked. When he tore his bicep tendon in one of his arms, he was going to need surgery, so that kind of put the kibosh on live shows. We had to cancel. Turbo, including one of your dystrophy benefits. But what he did then was in the week before the surgery, he sat down and recorded all of his guitar parts. So we were ready to go. So it actually it sped things up for the production of the EP. To be honest with you, it really gave us time to just focus on recording. So it was in a weird way sort of a good thing.
Yeah, we were kind of one of those blessings in disguise, you could say.
Yeah. So it was a sort of blessing in disguise. Yeah.
Very cool.
I don't want to do it again. I hope he doesn't have to. I don't. He doesn't have to have surgery every time we need to get a record done. But
no, that would suck. Not only that, but I mean, really, then you got to start figuring out ways of how to pull a bicep. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. I'm gonna have to set up. I'm gonna have to hire people to beat him up or something like that. Oh, you hurt another arm? What an odd coincidence. Hey, let's get in the studio.
Yes. But next thing you know, you'll be setting little booby traps on stage during shows.
Wow, the stage collapse. Who would have thunk it? Yeah.
Only when you're standing too. Wow.
Yeah, it's amazing. Oh, a trapdoor right there. Huh. How about that? No, we'll try to avoid that. I think we'll just try to record faster.
Very good, yeah. So I want to get into a track now. Let's debut a track from the new EP, Committed, and then we'll come back and we'll talk a little bit more about what you guys did in the writing process for it. And we're going on the phone with Sam Walters of Driven Mad here inside the Asylum. And Tim, what do you think would be a good introduction song of the new EP for our listeners that we can debut here tonight?
Sorry, are you asking me? Or
yeah.
You broke up. Oh, me. I would say, why don't you play Gripping the Third Rail? So that we might even make a video of that.
Very cool. Alright, gang, we're going to have Sam's going to stick around with us a little more, but right now, brand new music from Driven Mad, their new EP, Committed, coming out very soon. Here is a debut for you right now. This is Gripping the Third Rail from Driven Mad. Don't go anywhere. Sam Walters of Driven Mad still with us right after this.
Every day a piece of time to die of the joke. Talk a lot from how to venom, what a fucking job. I'm the one to feel
there you go, gang. That was brand new music debuting here inside the Asylum, gripping the third rail from Driven Mad from their new EP, Committed. And Sam Walters of Driven Mad still on the phone with me now. Sam, I gotta say, that is just an amazing track, and it's nice to hear that you guys have not changed really in sound from the first EP to the second EP.
You say we haven't changed, or we have?
You haven't.
Yeah, it's just more. Again, the focus is really just on the riffs, and the new EP will be more up tempo. It will be heavier than the last one, but I think if you like the last one, you're not going to be necessarily shocked by this. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. It's moving further away from King Hell. It's really its own distinct identity, but it's an extension, certainly.
Yeah, I mean, you can definitely hear that it's definitely the same band. It's kind of a part two. You could almost even say that it was meant to be a full-length album with Disorder. I listened to Disorder earlier again this week before speaking with you, and then listened to Committed again right after to see, if I could pick up on the differences. And it kind of sounds like Disorder and Committed were almost written together and meant to be one album instead of two EPs.
Huh, that's interesting. It's good to hear, kind of, because we like our music to, you never. Never say never, but I like to know that all of our songs, work for people and work live. They were for us. It's funny. I mean, they did feel like kind of two distinct entities, mostly just because some of those songs, some of those riffs are things we had been toying with in King Hell when King Hell broke up, and we sort of finished them up in Driven Mad. But again, in anything we do, you're still going to hear the core kind of ethic of riffs. Riffs with probably a decent amount of notes. With some sort of melodic or rhythmically syncopated thread going through them, and strong vocals. I'm not saying I'm just talking, but a strong flavor of vocals. So I can see, definitely how they they all go together. We would like to release basically like a trio of EPs in the next year and a half, and that could definitely be viewed as part one. This is part two, and a part three will be forthcoming shortly.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. I mean, after all, it worked for Green Day with their triple threat album Uno, Dos, and Tres. So I can't see why it would not work for you guys. I mean, if it worked for them, it should work for you.
Yeah, no, I think it's kind of I enjoy doing kind of shorter releases and putting them out more frequently. Making records is a real nightmare for me too. So the less time I spend in the studio, the happier I am. But I will say that in the first EP we that's not a mark on any of the people we've worked with. Our first EP was done with Stacey O'Donnell, who was great. The new one has been done with a guy, Stephen Goldman, who was also fantastic. So I just have a hard time in the studio because I really like to play live. That's kind of my focus, and playing live is a lot easier than making records.
Well, I mean, maybe that's something to remember in the future when you guys put an album together. Maybe just going and treat it like a live album as opposed to going into the studio and saying, all right, here's 1, 2, and 3. You just go in and say, all right, we're gonna just go, and then we'll see how it sounds, kind of deal.
I wish we could do that. We just don't operate that way. When we were in King Hell, the record we recorded was actually largely recorded live, kind of in the studio. And it's just a lot more an effort and precision, and even singing, in the recording studio is it's pretty intense for me. I spent 2 back-to-back days in the studio in the recording booth for 7 hours each, and you have to strike a kind of balance of really going for it and giving the best performance you can, but also singing on pitch, which can be a struggle. So if I really fly out the microphone and the spit is going, chances are the engineer's going to be like, shh, yeah, could you do that again? You were singing it in like, 3 octaves too high. So I really got to concentrate. I got to give the best performance I can, but really focus. And it takes a lot of work. I mean, there's a lot of precision that goes into this band, But that's just the kind of band we are. There's a lot of detail, If you're a punk band, definitely just go in and blow it out, and that's great too.
Well, yeah, but you can hear that you guys care about what you do on the recordings. I mean, you can hear it there on Gripping the Third Rail, on your new EP coming soon, called Committed, and you also hear it on the first album, Disordered. You guys don't just, go in, lay down a couple of tracks, say, yeah, the second one sounded good, use that one. It sounds more, from what you're saying and what you're doing, that you definitely hear it on the albums. It's more of a, let's do this, let's make sure it's right and the way we feel it should sound, as opposed to half-assing it and then saying, well, we'll fix it up live or later on.
Yeah, we can't really half-ass anything, especially with recording. We're just very, me in particular, perhaps, if something's not right, it bothers me and it bums me out and really interferes with my enjoyment of the music. It's got to be right, or it'll be like an itch that I can't scratch. It'll make me fucking crazy. I would say it's a bad thing, but the results end up coming out pretty well. I'm really, really 100% happy with the new EP, and it's a pleasure for me to listen to. So, and if I hadn't attended to all the details that I felt I needed to, it wouldn't be fun for me to listen to. So, you got to do it. At least we have to do it right. It's difficult, very difficult for us to say, okay, good enough. I mean, you have to do it to some extent, but it really has to be good enough. Like, okay, the diminishing returns if we keep working on this,
Right. No, I understand what you're getting to there. And, I'm wondering, too, in the writing, because it sounds more that you guys, that you guys just sit down and you jam, and I'm wondering, we debuted Gripping the Third Rail. How did the lyrics come to you for something like Gripping the Third Rail? I mean, it doesn't come across as it's a personal story in there. It just sounds like it's, just lyrics that came to you. Is that kind of the process when it comes to your writing the lyrics? It's what comes to you as opposed to maybe writing from life experiences?
So two things actually. Gripping the Third Rail, I think, was mostly it's the kind of the other way where we're doing a lot of writing. I mean, that's probably, as I recall, mostly Dimitri's production. One of his manic fits, sitting in his bedroom and writing something like that, and then sending out the jam tape. So I don't know how much jamming there was involved in that one. I can't remember, honestly. I don't think too much. But the vocals. So we took that song and jammed with it live, and I think I improvised a lot of the vocals. And then I listened back to the jam tapes and really refined them. So I think that's where the vocal melody came from in that. And vocally, I really tried to do something very, very different for me. I tried to make that as aggressive and kind of wild as I could. I don't think I've ever really generated vocals like that. It's also where we play it last in the set, so I can blow my throat out properly. Lyrics are always a total nightmare for me. I hate writing lyrics. You have to have kind of the right phonics to make the song singable. You have to write kind of vowel sounds that work. When I'm improvising vocals, we do something that kind of originates from King Hell and my time with my friend Doc Thompson, called Fishantos, which is just a stream of nonsense words that have the right kind of vowel sounds but make the vocal melody singable. And then I go back and try to actually hammer words into there, and it's very difficult for me. actually like the lyrics to mean something, at least to me. So, I may have gotten on a tangent from your original questions, but the lyrics, I spend a lot of time on the lyrics, which I shouldn't because it's idiotic. Nobody can understand me anyway, and they end up being stupid anyway, but it is what it is. I think I spent something crazy like 40 hours working on the lyrics for that song.
Yeah, so I understand what you're getting at. Well, it has to mean something, but at the same time, you don't want words in it that you're gonna stumble on when you go to do it again live.
Yeah, that song is that one's a difficult one because it's got so many words. It's really fast. It's so I really had to find words that were actually singable. And when I write lyrics, especially in this new band. In King and I wrote a lot of comedy lyrics, and I actually spent a lot of time just usually trying to write the stupidest stuff I could. Really trying to make it stupid. So that took time. In this band, the lyrics are a lot darker, and I'm kind of self-conscious about that because I'm a little bit tired of hearing dark lyrics. I kind of feel like the word suffering and pain should be banned from lyrics because they seem to be, kind of self-indulgent. I mean, all of us are playing, we're all blessed enough to be playing heavy metal with, amplifiers that cost thousands of dollars. So if we're in that position to begin with, none of us are really that bad off. We're not living in refugee camps. So when I write lyrics that are dark, I really have to try to make them about something that actually feels kind of dark or without seeming like they're complaining, So it's a tricky balance to strike. Because on the whole, I'm a pretty grateful dude, and I mean, I have my struggles, my dark struggles, but I don't really like to bitch about them,
Well, I mean, we all have our troubles in life, and we've spoken at some of the shows, and we've gotten to know each other in a very short time from when I first met you guys, and I can say from just personal experience with you, dark is not something someone would think of when speaking with you and knowing you. I mean, anyone that follows you as a friend on Facebook knows that comedy comes way more frequently than dark does.
Yeah, I am. I mean, I'm probably by nature a comedian. I did stand-up comedy for a long time, and I've written comedy, and I like saying stupid things. It kind of is maybe my greatest pleasure in life. The comedy tragedy thing is a real thing. Not to say I'm any great, deep, dark soul underneath the smiles and the laughter, but there's some pain under there, and I think maybe people have the misconception that you try to cover it up with comedy, and that's not really it. It's one can kind of feed into the other. My comedy is a little bit dark, and sometimes just as a reaction of being in pain, you are compelled to be silly, to sort of shrug it off, and to find some joy in life. So you're sort of driven to be funny, or at least I am anyway, because it's just part of my diet. I need it, or otherwise I get into a pretty bad funk or whatever. So yes, it's all part and parcel. You won't hear a lot of funny lyrics in Driven Mad because it's Driven Mad, but although actually if you want to know the title of the band, was actually from a kind of comic frustrated moment. I've been trying to think of a name for the band, and I couldn't. Every name I came up with, some fucking band had a MySpace page on it from 2007, and we hadn't been able to really trademark King Hell. So I really wanted to get a name that nobody seemed to have, and I swear to God, I spent like a fucking week on the computer, and I just thought, like, this shit is driving me absolutely fucking mad. I was like, wait, Driven Mad, please. Oh, nobody's got it. Perfect. That's the origin of that name.
I'd say that's a great way to get a name, and I mean, if you really think about it, with the way social media is nowadays with Facebook and Twitter, Driven Mad is just perfect because we all end up in one way or another driven mad by something. So
exactly. And it also speaks to what we're trying to do in our live shows, to really just drive people mad. And, we've been having good success with that. There've been some good hits at our last few shows. So
Awesome, man. That's great to hear. Again, we got Sam Walters of Driven Mad on the phone with us right now. And before I let you go, man, I know you're busy. When should everyone expect to see Committed available on wherever you're going to be selling it, whether it's iTunes or Bandcamp? How soon should everyone expect to see that?
We are doing a big EP release show at Tobacco Road on Friday, October 11th. It's 18 plus too, so if you're a relative young'un, you can get into it. The lineup is really strong. I'm excited about it. It's ourselves, a band called Valence, who are very cool, kind of progressive instrumental metal thing. County Hero, one of my favorite new bands on the scene, really a progressive kind of death metal affair. Lies Beneath, really fucking heavy, technical, cool, old friends of ours. And a band called Milan Frania, who are really heavy and have a great front man, friend of mine, Joseph Miranda, on there. So it's going to be a really strong bill. And we're also, there's a documentary series about the New York scene called NYC Rocks. It's done by Damien Collodi, and we were very lucky to be featured with that at our last show, the last show we did before taking a break to do the EP. So they're going to be debuting a premiere of the episode that has us on it. They're going to be debuting it at the show right before we play. So it's going to be a really interesting multimedia affair, and I encourage you all to come out. And hopefully, I think the EP will drop right, hopefully on that date, but if not, shortly thereafter.
Cool, and that'll be on iTunes or Bandcamp?
It'll be on iTunes, Spotify. Probably first on iTunes, and then have it on Spotify because we're broke. But yeah, it'll be all over the interwebs and stuff, and on all your favorite torrent sites, I'm sure.
Awesome, man. Awesome, and of course, you got that show on October 11th that Sam just told you guys about, and of course, you can also come see them again on October 26th at the Crash Bar for Rock Against Dystrophy. I want to also thank you, Sam, for being part of that night coming up here at the end of October.
Absolutely. We're excited to do that.
We appreciate it, man. Thank you so much. And let me let you go. I know, like I said, you're busy. Is there another track from Committed that we can debut here tonight, or you want me to hold off on that and we'll play something from Disorder?
No. Let's play something else from Committed. We'll show them the Sabbath Thief side. The song's, it's kind of an outlier. I Am the Mountain. It was written entirely in a drunken jam. So it'll be an interesting contrast maybe for your listeners. Third Rail's kind of Dimitri holed up in his room, and I Am the Mountain is all of us just blasted in the rehearsal studio. And I think the vocals were written almost entirely on the fly there. So yeah, this is our kind of Sabbath-y tune. It's called I Am the Mountain, and people seem to really like it live, so hopefully they will record it.
Awesome. All right, gang, check it out right now. Thank you, Sam, for joining me tonight here inside the Asylum. This is new music debuting from Driven Mad. I Am the Mountain, off their new EP Committed. Here it is. Check it out. Be back with some more tunes right after this.